2030.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Riyadh season 2024-2025 is coming. It says Riyadh season 2024, but it runs into early 2025. It's like the NFL football season in America where they say 2024 season, but about a third of it is played next year. Same with Riyadh season. It's coming. It's actually basically here now. It is back. It looks like it's going to be bigger and better than ever. I'm going to get to that in 1 second. Authorities released a 294-page booklet, which is actually a book. I mean, 294 pages is a book. I think you take let out at the end, and it's not a booklet anymore. A booklet is like 30 to 40 pages. This is like a whole, 294 pages highlighting everything that will make up the 2024 Riyadh season. If you don't know what Riyadh season is, by the way, you're listening from the West, you haven't been to it yet. It's actually kind of a little bit difficult to describe. It's a months-long series of events, theme parks, concerts, pop-up restaurants, sports, entertainment offerings. It's all across the city, and it's kind of under the umbrella of what's called Riyadh season. And it's a season. It's not like one event or a few weeks long. It's months long. So what's new for Riyadh season? I do not think we can get to all of it on this podcast today. Again, 294 pages of what to expect from Riyadh season this year. We will include a link to it in the YouTube video that this segment will appear on and on our podcasting platforms, and you can just download it from there. It's actually really cool. It is 294 pages, but it's very visual. So it's like you can kind of scroll through it and really get what you want, but it does include a really cool map at the beginning that kind of shows you where everything is in Riyadh. On sports, we'll see the introduction of tennis into the list of sporting events. The Six Kings Slam, featuring some of the world's best tennis stars, will take place in Riyadh, where the winter, by the way, is absolutely delightful when it comes to weather. We'll have Fury versus Usyk 2. So boxing is on the card this year again. We'll also have Beterbiev versus Bivol in a different type of boxing match, I think. And we've talked a little bit about Saudi Arabia's investments into boxing and the PIF's interest in perhaps creating a boxing league. So I think we'll see some more on that. UFC is coming to Riyadh as well. It cannot be Saudi Arabia without having a bunch of football among some of the events. You have the CAF Cup, where Champions League winners Al Ahly will face Confederations Cup from Africa, Zamalek. So you're going to have a bunch of different football games. Fashion shows. Elie Saab will have a dedicated night for fashion, and I believe they'll start introducing more and more fashion shows into Riyadh season, as Riyadh, as previously discussed on this podcast, is quite a fashionable place. You will also have, what's new, awards. There'll be an award ceremony called the Joy Awards that honors culture, art, cinema, music. Dr. Hannah, there's Latino night. Riyadh will still be showing sporting events at the Kingdom Arena, which is right near Hattin, where I lived. And it will also introduce a new building complex for entertainment offerings called The Venue, which is equipped with the latest audio-visual technology, flexible staging design, and superior sound quality. So I assume that is where they'll be doing a lot of the concerts and performances and having those at the Venue, and then more of the sporting events at the Kingdom Arena. Of course, Boulevard World, and that is probably one of my favorite parts about Riyadh season. It is absolutely insane. It's huge, and that's a holdover from previous years, but it looks like a lot of that is new. There's going to be a chill oasis, which is a beach where you can swim. But you're swimming in these like pebbles, I think. It's kind of hard to figure out what that is, but I definitely am looking forward to checking out that. And then there's a skiing school as well. And there's so much on Boulevard World. It's probably, 80 pages of this. Dining options. I couldn't make it through this thing without getting really hungry. You'll have cuisines from around the world, all of which look just amazing, especially as photographed. And the restaurants that they have in places like Boulevard World and pop-up restaurants elsewhere are divine. I will definitely be getting fatter in just a few months, so looking forward to that. There's a skiing school, so I think they're going to have some fake snow, but there's going to be a skiing school. And then you have cool things like the zoo, and there's a farm as well, which will make me feel like home, but I think it's a bunch of stuff with animals and stuff for children. Anyway, there's so much in this thing. You just got to check it out. Again, download it wherever you're seeing or listening to this and just flip through it on your phone. You'll kind of get a sense of how big this is. really everything on the entertainment side and sporting side is the same kind of offering, but there are new sports and it's almost totally different. And actually, this is what I really love about Riyadh season. And this is kind of the point that I want to make and why I wanted to do a deep dive on it. First of all, it's going to be the talk of the town in Riyadh for the coming months. So it's kind of a big deal. But I guess what I'm interested in, and I've been thinking about a little bit, is that Riyadh season now in its fourth or fifth year, I think, is sort of becoming a tradition. And I use that word because it's established now as really a world-class and frankly globally unique annual series of events. There's really just nothing like it in the world today. But when you use the word tradition, that sort of implies that it's an annual event that is the same every year. When you think about annual festivals and carnivals and fairs around the world, and granted, Riyadh season is not just one event or one of those things, but all of them, 294 pages worth of them. But when you think about these traditional events annually, globally, with an emphasis on tradition, Christmas parades, Oktoberfest in Munich, summer carnivals and fairs, harvest festivals, etc., even major sporting events, you can't really name them all, but you think of continuity and you think of those events that are basically going to be the same every year. And honestly, that's not a bad thing at all because they're so rare and they're so short. They're part of our annual calendar. They fit into the same time and place every year in our lives, and then they're gone and we can't wait for them again. And this is what makes Riyadh season, to me anyway, not just different, but exceptional. Riyadh season is becoming a tradition, and there are themes and main elements of it that are similar each year. Boulevard World, of course, I just mentioned, but the last thing you would say about it is that it's the same every year. Very few things about Riyadh season this year are the same, and that goes for every year since its launch. I mean, you would never really call it routine. Nobody's bored of it, for sure. What organizers and officials have managed to create with Riyadh season is kind of a unicorn, a tradition that is truly dynamic and evolving and improving every year. Something that elicits, I guess, a level of excitement and fun. And this really goes for all ages for me. And it has a recognizable brand and is part of the city's identity now. And it's fresh and new every year. I mean, that's quite a feat to accomplish. And really what's so brilliant about this is, to me, that's Saudi Arabia now. It's a nation that is rooted in traditions, that celebrates those traditions, but also is dynamic, changing, embracing new things, widening its appeal as it emerges globally as a cultural destination. My family and I, but I mean, especially my children, think Riyadh season is the coolest thing on earth. They ask about it all the time. And granted, they've only ridden this rock around the sun a few times, but for them, it's magical. For adults, it's kind of a blessing living in Riyadh to have these activities to be able to take your children to. And then these events are awesome. The amusements across the city. And even throughout Riyadh, I mean, you already have an established sort of restaurant city, a dining city, a foodie city that is great. The new restaurants that are kind of pop-ups and temporary that come with Riyadh season are also awesome. And they add kind of extra variety. For me personally, to be honest, I still can't get over what I'm seeing when I see things in Riyadh season. I mean, when I see Boulevard World, I first started coming to Riyadh regularly in 2008, 2009. So just seeing these huge events, amusement parks, listening to music in public, it's still kind of a striking reminder of how things used to be and how much has changed. So I will be hitting up almost all of this stuff with my family very soon. I can't wait for it. Check out the full 294-page brochure wherever you're listening to this. See for yourself that truly there's so much in here. Can't get to it all. But I hope to see some of you guys out there, and I hope everybody enjoys it. It should be awesome.
Thank you so much for that. I was thinking we really need to go over what's happening for Riyadh season after the announcement. Actually, as you mentioned, after the release of the book that details all of the different events that are happening. And of course, you know, if you've never been to Riyadh, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around the idea that there is something happening that's called a season. And it's not in one place. It's not in, one particular, it's not for, a few days. It's basically an activation of fun and entertainment that happens over the course of several months across multiple venues with lots of different entities participating in it. So you have different restaurants, local and from abroad, participating. You have all of these different fights, performances, displays, all coming to the kingdom for, a few months to really kind of highlight just different opportunities to engage with what's on offer. And Riyadh is one of, I believe, 8 seasons. Is it 8 or 6 seasons across the kingdom? So this is, usually the biggest. It's the biggest city. And if you look through the book, you can see some of the things that are going on there. I also believe this is the 5th of the Riyadh seasons, which we weren't sure which one it was. So there's different things going on in the different zones that were already there. So Boulevard World now has Boulevard Runway, as you mentioned. Apparently that's in partnership with Saudi Airlines. And they're going to benefit from old unused aircraft models as well. There's going to be, again, as you mentioned, Elie Saab coming for a fashion show, Joy Awards ceremony with a number which is that doubles last year's number, and so on. But I think what's interesting also is that there are several free events, things that people can do without having to pay, that include the zoo, that include a couple of the different areas, such as, let me see, what was it that I was going to say? Al-Awwalin Market, which is an experience of kind of all of the Saudi regions, their identity, popular foods from all around the regions of Saudi Arabia. Al-Awwalin means kind of the ancestors. And also there's going to be a couple of other areas where you can just go and experience kind of international cuisine, international pavilions that are also for free. So I thought that it's important to just note that, yes, while some of this can be costly, where, there's different tiers of tickets that you can get for some of the different events that are going on, some of it is also for free, and the vibe is for free as well, because it definitely makes Riyadh a much more vibrant place while the season is happening.
Free vibes in Riyadh for any takers. It's a great point. There are different things for you to do based on price. There was some stuff that we didn't want to do last year as a family because we didn't know if our children would enjoy it for the price. And there was so much other stuff to do that we were like, we don't really need to do this because, just walking around Boulevard World, it's so cool. It's kind of like, I haven't been to Disney World since I was a little boy, but it's sort of like that a little bit, but it's totally unique and different. And it's so new. It's purpose-built, really, and there's so much shopping and things to do. It just is wild. And you have to, if you're in Riyadh, you almost can't miss it. But if you're in Riyadh for work, especially if you're visiting for work, take one of the evenings where you're hanging out after a long day and go check out Boulevard World or go to some of these events and see for yourself, because it's just so unbelievable.
I'm just going to say that Sharqiya, so Eastern Province season, is also going to happen this year. And usually I think that happens in May and June. So once Riyadh season is over and you miss it because you weren't in Saudi during that time, you can always hop over to the Eastern Province in May or June and kind of get a flavor of that season as well. And there are many other seasons, of course, that other people, like I think Jeddah season is coming to an end or just finished recently. So yeah, Riyadh season's incredible, but the rest of the kingdom has a lot on offer as well.
I love that little plug for the Eastern Province. You couldn't help yourself. And if you do want to keep those good Riyadh vibes going, you just keep it going. You go to the Eastern Province in May and have yourself a great time in Hannah's hometown. Sounds good. Dr. Hannah, let's get to the news.
I had to say it.
You had to. I'm so proud of you. Yeah,
you were like, when's the khabar one? Well, actually, we have one. It's coming up.
I love that.